The Dentalpreneur Podcast. Okay, doctor, it's time to put down that handpiece. You're listening to the show dedicated to helping dentists get their lives back. It's time to decrease your stress, increase your profitability, and regain your passion. Now introducing your host, Dr. Mark Costas.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Dentalpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mark Costas. What is up, my friends? I hope you're doing great out there today in podcast land. It's going to be a fun day for me because I'm hanging out with a couple of my buddies from San Diego, my favorite city, people that I've known for quite some time now, people that I trust very much in their area of expertise. Let's welcome Laura and Michael to the podcast. Laura is one of the co-founders of Wonderist after 10 years in the advertising world on both agency and client sides with General Motors, Kohl's department stores, Microsoft, and Sony Pictures. Laura took the jump into small business ownership in 2011. Since then, she's been having a ball helping dental practices find their marketing footing and educating their clients. Michael Anderson is one of the co-founders of Wonderist. Michael's passion for entrepreneurship landed him square in the middle of Milwaukee's growing startup community. Playing an active role on the local scene, he and Laura started laying the groundwork to grow Wonderist Agency. With artistic vision and a scrappy jack-of-all-trades mindset, Michael has brought energy and strength to a great foundation. Laura and Michael, what's up, guys? How are you today? Nice to see you.
Hey.
You know, I had flashbacks to our wedding. It's great. We had this pastor come in, we had this Lutheran wedding. We didn't really know him and he was retired. We were concerned when we had the second meeting and it felt like we met him for the first time again. So, he's going to get up and say a few things about us. And we gave him, Laura gave him some notes. Okay. And so he got up there and he read her notes and it was like, Laura's won 40 under 40. She's done all this stuff. And then he got to me and he's like, and Michael likes craft beer. And so I was hoping you didn't get the same notes. I thought I was having deja vu. I was like, here we go again.
I literally thought the exact same thing. That's so funny.
Nope. It was the equal number of words. It was well distributed. Well
That's
done.
Right.
Hey
Perfect.
Guys, what's going on?
I've had my, not much. What's going on with you?
Is this a home studio or are you guys at the office?
We're in our office at the office. So our office functions as the podcast studio / where we sit. But Michael, you're not in here too often. He kind of hangs out in the front conference room and I hang out back
Laura
there.
kicks me out. I don't really have anywhere to be in the office. So I just kind of float around.
Yeah, I do have to say.
All the confidential, critical conversations,
That's right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people have probably seen lots of footage of our team at your awesome facility there in San Diego. You guys are so gracious and always let us do kind of breakout meetings and small and medium-sized meetings at your really gorgeous facility there in San Diego. So thank you very much. I can picture exactly where you guys are sitting. I know that building very well. And I think, we're probably going to be there at least a couple times next year. So thank you guys for continuing to be so gracious and generous with your space. I would love to hear from both of you just a little bit about the genesis of Wonderist. I never did get the story on why you guys called it Wonderist in the first place. I love that. I love the name. I love the branding. So maybe you guys can tell us the genesis of this, how you got into dentistry in the first place, and why Wonderist ended up being the name.
Yeah. So I had been working, you kind of gave the intro. I've been working at agency side, client side for big companies and, suffice to say, I kind of knew maybe in the back of my head I might own an agency someday, but I didn't really know the practical application of that. And I was just kind of miserable. I didn't really like taking instructions from other people. And I didn't really like it when I had a better idea, but they were like, no, this is the way we do it. And you'd be like, well, why? And they'd be like, well, this is the way we do it. And I just don't love that for an answer a lot of times. And so I was working for the movies, which sounds like the sexiest job in the whole wide world. I was placing tier 2 local media for Sony Pictures. And, you'd walk into the office and Adam Sandberg would be there chit-chatting about what billboards he'd get on Wilshire for his movie. And you never knew who you're going to see in there. You'd walk into the cafeteria and you'd see Adam Sandler with his wife and kids wandering around. And so it was just it was cool in that regard, but the work itself was, ugh. So at that point, I had a friend who was a dentist call me, and he was graduating dental school at Marquette, your alma mater.
Yay.
And he said, "Hey, I think I'm going to start a dental practice. Would you do this marketing thing for small clients like you do for big clients?" And I was like, I don't know. Sure, I'll try. And so in my spare time, I started working with him on a marketing plan, and he's a wonderful practitioner, still our client today, 12 years later, wonderful businessman. And the first person that really had some hope and faith in what could be. And so he's like, here's all the marketing, here's all the pieces. And I was kind of consulting at that point for marketing, where I would do the things I knew how to do, and then I would contract out the things I didn't know how to do, like run a PPC campaign or build a website or do photo and video, and then I'd quarterback it for him. And he was like, "I think you're kind of onto something," after we started really making the phone ring, and he had 2 and 3 locations. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so he said, "Let me introduce you to a couple people," and introduced me to a few people. And suddenly I had, I think it was three or four clients that I was doing this for. And then I met Michael, and I can give do I long story or short story today? I'll short story today. Yeah. The long story is a good one, but it's good for a glass of wine. And I met Michael, and he had this great intersection of the things I did not have. And I'll let you kind of take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say this. When I met Laura, I stumbled into college, stumbled out of it. I started as studio art and thought being an English literature major would be a lot more employable. So, that kind of tells you where I was at in life. And by the time I met Laura, I was working for a startup focused division of a Fortune 500 company, really got a chance to focus on how you could use marketing to scale businesses. And so when I saw what she was doing, I think you'd just gotten your 3rd client. And I was really impressed that she'd found this vertical, this space that had a huge need. And at that point, now 12 years ago, dentistry, unfortunately, marketing hasn't progressed that much since then. There's a lot of stick dentists in a box, lots of stock images, lots of done for you, easy, press a button, marketing will triple your business. And then people get frustrated when they don't get the results they want. And so we set out to do it differently. And we really focused on building a team that could execute at a high level. We focused on ditching stock images. And you asked the question about the brand, and I'll answer that. If you ask Laura, she's going to say, "Hey, listen, it didn't really come from anywhere. I was kind of wandering the world and so wonder kind of came out of that." But I think what it's evolved to mean today, the word we love in that is wonder, right? And one of the big things for Laura and I is curiosity, and that really embodies that. So if you work with us, there's our wonder sites and our wonder funnels, and we wear shirts that have wonder on them. Wonder has really become a huge part of our brand, and it's something that we want our team to bring forward to our clients, and it's something that we also see in our clients too. They're curious, they have questions, they want to be involved. And so the wonder part of our brand has really been the thing that has been the common thread through everything we do.
Awesome. So thank you for indulging me. I did not know that about your past and how that initiated. I would love to hear, and forgive me because I want to talk about some really, really high level stuff, but the nuts and bolts of marketing is fascinating to me. And the fact that I work with dentists on the daily, and one of the things that still frustrates a lot of dentists is their failure to be able to get traction in their marketplace from, a consistency standpoint, from being able to attract their avatar, their ideal customer. And it feels to me like a lot of people are just one good campaign or one good idea away from really just breaking their practice open and really having things click for them. And I also say that about human resources, right? It's like, oh my gosh, you're just like one good office manager, one good associate, one good something away from just making this thing fantastic, but you're like in purgatory. You're perpetually just kind of hanging out in the medium zone. So what do you guys feel is that differentiator in a marketing campaign or a doctor or a strategy that really makes kind of the people that excel past purgatory versus the people that are perpetually stuck?
I mean, to me, the answer is that you are the business, right? Especially when you're a one practitioner practice, is like, you're the business, your culture is the business, and what you put into the world is what everyone needs to see. And so there needs to be something interesting to say. There needs to be something interesting that you do. You need to, whether it's unique to you or it's a part of who you are, you have to have something to say that is a differentiator in the marketplace, that is easy to hook your teeth into, hook your hands into, that is a reflection of you. So like Michael and I are here because we are the business, right? We're so much a part of the business. The culture is so much a part of the business. There's a reason the three of us are talking and not someone else from our team. And I think that doctors have to realize that if they want to see growth, if they want to see consistency, if they want to have traction in the services that they want to offer, they have to find the thing in themselves to leverage to the outer world.
So I want anyone listening right now to do this. Pull out your phone and pull up your website or pull up your Instagram. And I want you to look at it, and I want you to see if you see yourself, see your business. Some of you may have open scratch practices. Other of you have been operating for 20 years. There's all these things that make you unique. And I think when we start there, say you've got to have something different, it stresses people out, because I've had many dentists say, well, I'm just a dentist. Okay. What do patients feel? Why do they come back? And oftentimes it's the relationships that they have, or maybe the space that you provide, or the results that you drive. And now go and look at your website and look at your Instagram or social media and ask yourself, do I see myself there? And I think some of you are going to confront the reality that you already know, that you're kind of having this like great surprise for people. You're like, well, if you go on my website, it's a bunch of stock images. Some marketing agency told me to connect with patient avatars, and I have grandma and grandpa sitting in a field, and that's it. They don't get to see me or the team. So the number one hack here for anyone that's feeling stressed is you got to get rid of stock images. And there's no excuse. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, okay, you have to hire someone for a lot of money to come take photos and videos. But today, what you can do is you can even use your phone, right? You can really create really high quality content. So that's the one thing. I want to offer one more thought. I find where marketing gets stalled out a lot is that we tell people the thing we want them to know. So for example, I'll say, San Diego's best dentist. That's what I want you to know. But do people believe that? I don't know. Probably not if you just say that. So you need to shift your marketing mindset to go one level deeper. Give somebody something that will help them believe the thing you want them to know. So if you said 2,000 Google reviews, right? That might make in San Diego, that might make someone believe that you're San Diego's top dentist. Or if you showed an award that you got, we literally got nominated for San Diego's top dentist, literally, and we won it. Now I believe you. So I think that's another big shift people need to try to make in their marketing.
Yeah, I love it. And let's turn that on you guys, right? You guys are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, dental marketing company out there. It must be frustrating that anybody can take a weekend course and, they're pushing people towards dentistry because they say, well, these guys have deep pockets and they don't know anything about marketing. So what a ripe market, go get them. And then you have all these people that claim to be able to get to the front page of Google or whatever claims they're making nowadays. And they'll kind of slide into somebody's DMs and take a potentially good client, just blow up their website and their marketing plan. And that person walks away feeling disgruntled and tells people that marketing doesn't work, right? So that's what you guys are dealing with. And I can see that would be frustrating, but you guys are extremely established. How have you guys been able to create the foundation and the growth that you've been able to experience over the last decade?
It's the 10-year overnight success, right?
Yeah.
Just been quietly staying in our lane. We don't worry too much about what other people are doing. I think Michael and I have really kept our nose to the grindstone the last 10 years and tried to put forward a product with a team that is able to produce results on a consistent basis. And slow and steady is the race, right? Slow and steady wins the race. There's no silver bullet in what we do. There's no magic overnight thing the same way. Well, minus Ozempic now, that you don't lose weight overnight, right? You don't become fit overnight. It's consistency, it's training, it's building your muscles, it's building the culture, it's building SOPs. The same things that dentists are taught to do in their business every day is the same stuff that we've done, right? We've put our nose to the grindstone. We've evolved ourselves over and over. We've built something and then took it apart and rebuilt it again. And we found a team that is excited to do that kind of stuff over and over again and to serve their clients. I think that's really the thing that's really been the game changer for us.
You know, I like to relate it back to dentists because we'll get this from time to time. And I think when you're in an industry that's familiar to you, it's so easy to see what's happening, right? And you think about being a dentist, you're established, you've been open for 20 years, you placed implants for 15, you're accredited, you got, you know, you built a team. Yes, you pay them a little bit more. Yes, you're more expensive. You've shifted towards fee for service. You've gone through all these hoops and you know why, you understand. And then corporate dentistry moves in down the street. There's a brand new associate and hey, they'll place implants as well. You can see that there's this, you know, in the business model, why things are going to be different for a patient. You know that that person has less experience. It's the same in marketing. And so for us, you know, we see people pop up all the time and they'll promise the world. And for us, the hard part of marketing is not the ideas. It's not the strategy. It's the execution. It's hiring good people. It's retaining good people. It's having processes in place. And so I welcome growth in marketing. I welcome the new companies that come in, and the ones that will stay are the ones that do the hard work. That's not overnight. And the ones that won't make it quickly get weeded out by dentists who speak up and say that didn't work for me. And so I think that's why we just continue to focus on ourselves and making sure that what we're doing evolves, which it has to.
Yep.
So obviously there are different strategies for different marketplaces, and you guys happen to live in an extremely competitive marketplace. If you were a dentist, somebody that was acquiring a dental practice in the middle of a very saturated area, say La Jolla, you would probably have to work in a different manner and have a different strategy than somebody in maybe Des Moines, Iowa, or something like that. So what does that mean? Does that mean even more differentiation? Does that mean more ad spend? What actually pulls people apart or separates people in an extremely competitive marketplace?
Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think every marketplace is different and everybody's goals are different. So a scratch startup that's a fee-for-service practice is different than an established practice that is shifting towards doing all on X cases. But I think, you know, probably the first thing is really truly understanding your goals, and that's going to help dictate your budget and strategy. And I think, you know, oftentimes I find when we talk to dentists, wherever they're at in the process, it's amazing how little time they've spent on that one piece. And you know, you could say, hey, well, isn't that the marketing agency's job? Sure, but you have to have some center point. You still are the business owner, and you gotta know what your goals are. And I think that once you have that, the things that we've found that remain the same, that everybody should carry forward. One, make sure your budget is based on some calculation and understanding of your conversion rate. What I mean by that is if you generate 100 leads, a marketing agency should roughly be able to tell you how much it costs to get you those leads, cost per lead. And then you should understand, when I get 100 leads, how many do I convert? So if I convert 20, you now can say, okay, is my budget going to help me meet my goal, or do I need to increase it, right? And I'm simplifying math there a little bit, but you can kind of back your way into, do we have a good plan? And then, most importantly, are you competing in your market when people find you, right? A lot of times I think people think marketing's job is just to get you out there. Let's just, you know, Google ads, social media ads, all this stuff. Let's just get in front of people. What is it that they think when they see you? Are you differentiating? Have you replaced your stock images? Do you have a message that makes you different? What is the thing you hang your hat on? And then the last piece of it is you've got to track things. And I think that's what we see oftentimes. People get close, but they don't really. You know, if you ask most dentists, hey, what's the ROI of your marketing? I don't know. My marketing agency tells me it's going well. My marketing agency tells me I got 150 phone calls last month. Well, how many of them actually converted to patients? How much production did you generate? How much did you collect? And making sure you have a system to track ROI so you can know what to focus on and what to turn off is something that is essential and very much missing in today's dental marketing space.
Tracking and ROI is a huge, huge topic, and I want to kind of dig into that a little bit deeper. But first, I want to talk about the connection between, and you alluded to this a little bit, Michael, the connection between operations and marketing, right? It's difficult, I bet, for a marketing company to say, all right, we got the phone to ring, but something is happening on the other side. Like, what are you guys doing to make sure that you have a replicable model or process for answering the telephone and closing those potential new patients to get them to come through the doors? So what happens when you have data that shows that the phone rang 150 times based on a campaign that you've created, but the doctor/client is frustrated because those aren't turning into new patients?
I think the first thing is recognizing it. I've done this for long enough to know that many times where you run into a problem is you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can think of one call. I have it saved on my computer, and I won't embarrass anyone by saying who, but you know, we had a client that kind of said, hey, marketing's not working great for me. And I started listening to calls. First call I listened to, you know, this guy calls up. He says, hey, listen, I'm dental emergency. I'm my tooth cracked. I need to come in. The front desk says, hey, well, listen, where are you coming from? And she says, oh, it's location. She says, well, that's an hour away. You know, can you find anybody else? Have you called anybody else yet? And he says, well, you know, I've called a few people. And then she says, well, you know, it's gonna be longer. He says, well, I have a car. Okay. He got through that objection. Right. And then he said, what about your insurance? Well, I got Delta Premier. She's like, I've never heard of it. That can't be true.
Wow.
And so I had a call with the doctor and I was preparing, how do I gently lead him here? And we both got on the call. And before I opened my mouth, he said, Mike, I listened to the calls. I know what you're going to say. And it was great because we had clarity. Mm-hmm. And how many years had something like this been going on? I don't know. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is to recognize we're not a coaching company. You know, we're blessed to have wonderful relationships with coaches like you. Mm-hmm. And so I think for us, we help identify and we help direct. We say, hey, listen, you know, there's wonderful professionals that make their entire career out of helping front desks learn how to close calls. Mm-hmm. But the one other thing we do is we help with those missed opportunities and gaps. This is where I find front desks run out of time. They don't have it. So you miss a phone call, what happens? Somebody calls and says they're interested, but they need to follow up. How do you remember? And that's where our CRM has the ability to automate follow-up, missed call, text back. You know, if you don't have this today in your practice, huge missed opportunity. Someone calls, it's lunchtime, they missed the call. We text, hey, sorry, missed your call. How can we help? You catch them before they move on. Mm-hmm. Someone says, hey, I'm going to talk to my wife and I'll get back to you. We put them in a funnel and we follow up with them and say, hey, it's the end of the day. Did you get a chance to chat? Here's a link to schedule. That's the kind of stuff that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's huge. Okay, so thank you. That was a great kind of touch point on operations integrating with marketing. Let's talk about technology and how you guys are able to track the ROI of a marketing spend. This is something that, you know, as somebody that really, really focuses on numbers of a dental practice, profit and loss and EBITDA, overhead, profitability, all of those things that a lot of dentists never kind of learned how to do, the basics of running a practice based on numbers and data and analytics. One of the things that frustrates me when I see the line item of advertising and marketing at 11%, and they're getting maybe 42 new patients per month. It doesn't matter. The numbers don't really matter. What matters is that they can't attribute those new patients to anything necessarily that they're doing for the ad spend. So I'd love it if you guys could talk to us about how it is that you help your clients get a good grasp on how their money that they're spending towards marketing is actually bringing in new patients, how they're able to track that.
Yeah, so I think this is one of the things that we're most excited to talk about for the first time really in the last few weeks. We've been teasing it, but it is out and it is ready and it's amazing. And I know you and I have talked at length about it, but I'm gonna go so far as to say it's one of the most exciting things happening in dentistry right now that nobody knows about. And so that's why I'm excited to be here today. And Michael can share some of the details too. But suffice to say, the age-old question of what is your marketing agency doing for you? Is it working? Is now able to be answered. We've integrated with Dentrix, Eagle, and Open, as well as a few other PMS systems. And we are now able to track from the phone call, from the online schedule, that Jan Smith called in on an implant ad. She scheduled an appointment for November 12th. She came in, she did $500 worth of treatment on the day and has an outstanding treatment plan for $20,000. Because we're able to take our technology, our integration, and reach in and pull that number out and match it, that phone number out, and match it from the call all the way to what's in your system.
Wow.
And so we've never before had that technology. And that's exciting for the marketing agency, right? It's going to lay bare the job that we're doing. It's going to lay it bare for the client and for us.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the most exciting things that could be happening in dentistry right now, is to make that connection and to actually be able to produce a return on ad spend that's clear and clean for the very first time. And I will let you add in, but I want to tell you about one example. One of our longtime clients, he's a implant guy in Shirley, Massachusetts. And he was one of our early beta testers. And I was putzing with his account the other day and I said, how much do you think you spent with us this year? He said, I don't know, like $50,000. I was like, okay, it's 55. It was pretty close. And I said, how much do you think we've generated you to date on that $55,000? And he was like, I don't know, like 120,000. And I said, no, $550,000.
Wow.
So he spent 55 and he made $550,000. I was like, do you want up the budget? He was like, yes, I do. Still like
unreal.
You have access. We have ability to tie it not only to the lead, right? Because marketing agencies in dental have been optimizing to the lead to date, to the phone call. Now we can optimize to the butt in the chair, which is so much more valuable. So much more valuable. Because your emergency campaign, I could get on the phone and say, Mark, that emergency campaign gave you 100 phone calls last month. And you'd be like, Laura, they're not in the chair. I don't know what to tell you. They're not in the chair. And now I can say, oh, well, that emergency campaign generated 100 phone calls, but I can see it generated 30 patients and this much production. Do you want to do more of that or less of that? Should we do that in another campaign? And that is power. I mean, that is power for a marketing agency. That is power for a client. And I'm so excited about that.
Wow.
Do you want to add anything to that? I crushed it.
I mean, I think the only thing I'll say is that, we all, I think have heard at a cocktail party, Tesla's not a car company, they're a data company, right? And so we roughly understand and we'll talk about the fact that data is so important. But I think we rarely really understand why. And I think that for us, having this data unlocks so much potential in marketing. As this year winds down, we'll be rolling out online scheduling for our clients with better data attribution, more customization. As we get into next year, being able to literally understand where patients are at in their journey of case acceptance and reappointment lets us take a very active role in supporting clients and not just getting new patients, but making them active, happy new patients. I think about myself. I love my dentist. I went in, he said, Mike, let's talk about Invisalign. And I told him I wanted to. And we went, he put his great plan in front of me. I've got a great deal waiting for me. I left the office, my life got busy. He's waiting for another 6 months to talk to me again. That makes no sense. And the reality is dentists don't have anyone to own that. That's where we're excited as a marketing agency to partner with dentists and say, it's not just about new patients, it's about what comes after. And data is the bridge that lets us do it.
That is fascinating. That's really cool how you guys have embraced technology to that degree. So dumb it down for me. So when you take on a new client, is this part of the package? Is this an upgrade to what a normal customer / client would get? Is this a box that they tick and say, yes, I'm willing to pay a premium in order to have this level of tracking, or does everybody get it?
Yeah, so today it is an upgrade, and the reason for that is that we have so many clients that we're working with today that came in before we had this. And this is a great sort of operation discussion in business, right? I'd love to roll it out for everyone, but you've got to find a way to message that. There's a cost implication to it, and so today it's something that most of our new clients do. It's $150 a month, and if you think about it, there's a cost of data. What we literally do is we call out to your PMS, your practice management software, and we say, hey, send us data. We do it multiple times a day. And so there's thousands, if not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of data points that go back and forth, and there's a cost to that data. And so that really reflects that cost. And so almost all of our new clients are doing this. As we go into the new year, we're going to work on making sure all of our legacy clients get upgraded to this as well.
Cool. Let's talk about reaction time. So if you have this data now, this is fascinating. If you have this data now and you see that this particular campaign really didn't hit like you wanted it to, how much time are you allowing to see if that campaign or that strategy will work next month, or if you're going to slightly tweak it? Have you guys still, or have you guys begun to figure out what that timing looks like, or is that going to be unique to each individual case?
Yeah, probably the best rule of thumb is time is certainly important, but I think budget is more important, right? If you have a low level budget campaign, it's one of the downsides to that is it takes more time to understand if it's performing, right? So if you spend $500 a month on Google AdWords, you certainly can't tell in 30 days, probably not 60 or 90 days. 90 days is the first time I would begin to even start to say what's going on. But if you have a $10,000 a month ad spend, within 30 days, you should be able to start to make optimizations, if not before. And so I like to think, independent of budget, that a quarterly evaluation of marketing is pretty reasonable, right? I think if you overreact, we're middle of the NFL season, people are starting to get fired. It's hugely disruptive if you fire a coach on a team and you change there's a new playbook coming and you got to learn new stuff. That you got to recognize there's disruption. You lose momentum. So you don't want to be changing your marketing every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks. I think quarterly reviews make a lot of sense, and you need to make sure you have big enough budgets to feel that you've got data worthy of evaluation.
Got it. This seems like it's proprietary technology. Do you foresee that this is going to be commonplace with some of the larger marketing companies, that they will either try to clone this, or have you been reached out for people wanting to license it from you? What do you guys anticipate?
Yeah, we've had, so one of the great things about dental marketing is there are some wonderful agencies, wonderful people in the space, and we all know each other. We all kind of, solve problems together and talk throughout the year, talk at conferences, and we've had some really good conversations with some of our friends in marketing that are aware that we've done this, and they're excited. We've had some people reach out and say, hey, we're, when you're ready, we're in. And so right now I think we're making sure that this isn't done, right? We've got the ROI tracking down, but then there's online scheduling, then there's the internal marketing. And so one thing we're trying to do is consolidate software. Practices have to have way too many softwares. And I think as we move down that road, we see an opportunity to partner with other agencies and bring them into this sort of new way of doing marketing. So we're excited about that. And yes, I know lots of people are working on this. We've seen other people in the industry for the last couple of years make big claims.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple people famously that have talked a good game and said, I'm doing this, and the results aren't there. They haven't been able to deliver yet. And so undoubtedly other people work towards this. It's also interesting, guess who's really interested in this? Not a surprise, corporate dentistry. And for our private practice listeners, I think that should be something you take note of, right? Our most enthusiastic clients are our corporate dentistry clients because they care about data. They want it now. They want to make better decisions, and they're going to use this to gain a competitive advantage. So I think no question dentistry is moving in this direction, and AI is only adding nitro fuel to it, because once you get a great data pool, I'll give you one fun example. You think about looking at all of your patients' outstanding treatment plans. In the past, you might have to have a marketing agency come up with 1 or 2 funnels to reactivate them. In the future, AI can literally do customized outreach based on outstanding treatment plans because we have the data.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome. Can we double down on, or at least circle back on online scheduling? So you guys are developing your own platform for online scheduling?
Yeah. So for us, you might say why, right? There's some really good partners in this space. And there's a problem we've run into over and over again that we need to solve. And it's one that I think most dentists don't care about. And I understand why, but here it is. If you have Google ads going to a landing page, you want to track the result of that ad. Do they convert? And then ultimately for us, do they come in? If you have a phone tracking number, I can see, Google ad clicked, we got a phone call. But if I have online scheduling, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to see someone come to a page and schedule online, because the conversion happens in a place that we can't bring back to Google.
I see.
And so we want to build this ourselves so we can solve that problem. And it gives us better tracking. Also, Google ad campaigns are optimized to say, hey, if somebody converts, find more people like them. And so we want to bring that data in so we can have stronger, better Google ad campaigns. So yeah, we've launched our first client with online scheduling. I'm a huge believer that dentists pay way too much money for way too many softwares that are spread out between different companies.
Totally.
And as we move into 2025, our stated goal is to consolidate those softwares so that you can have all of your stuff happening in one place.
That is very cool. All right. So let's talk a little bit about some of the strategies that you guys deploy. So some of it is traditional marketing. I guess what I'm asking is, give me a typical full service sample of what you guys would recommend for somebody that's brand new and that has, the ability to pay 7% of their 6 to 7% of their gross revenue towards a marketing spend. What would you typically suggest? Is that social media? Is that pay-per-click? Is that some of that is going to be website maintenance? I guess some of that is going to be, I don't know. Give me the full gamut. Give me a full presentation of what is possible if we're working with you guys.
Yeah. So I think one of the first things we were going to do is, if you're a startup, we do branding. If you need a refresh, that's kind of in its own world. I think one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to take a look at your website, right? You're going to meet with somebody on our business development team, and they're going to take a look at, what is the current state of affairs? And then what do you want? What do you need? What are your goals? And we're going to evaluate the website, see if it is going to meet the objectives that you have set forth for your practice. And then in addition to that, it's probably going to be some mix of paid ads and SEO strategy, social ads and posting, and then our technology element to it, which is obviously the PMS integration and the funnels.
Okay. So tell me more about the funnels. So if you guys are capturing leads, somebody's exchanging their contact information for something, and then they get put into a funnel. Michael alluded to the fact that you guys can start using AI for really super customized funnel follow-up. What does that look like?
Yeah. So one of the interesting insights, which, we engage with different brands and businesses every day in our life. And I think one of the things that's interesting about dentistry is that nobody is in the CRM, the relationship management tool, until they've crossed the threshold into the practice, at which point they're in Dentrix, Open, Eagle Soft, right?
Okay.
But if you think about it, I have emails that I get daily. I have text messages that I get daily from brands that I like that I haven't necessarily transacted with yet.
Yes.
Right.
A lot. That happened. I
And
feel like when you mention a name, I feel like
and
you,
so like,
yeah.
where does that exist in dentistry? It doesn't.
Yeah.
Like somebody calls the front desk and they say, hey, I need a crown. I'm wondering if you can give me the price over the phone, to which the front desk inevitably says, oh, we don't give pricing over the phone. And you're like, okay, well, and the caller's in this awkward position. They're a educated patient. They know what they need. And you've left them in this position on the phone now to say, I don't know what to do next. So they say something like, I'm going to call my husband and I'll call you back.
Yeah.
Click. That person was on the 1 yard line. They were ready. All they needed was the right piece of information to convert. So now you're sitting in this situation while that woman who called in, who was an educated patient, is in the abyss. She's never to be seen or heard from again, because the front desk probably isn't going to call them back in a day, in a week, in a month, whatever it is, to make sure she got taken care of. And so there's no CRM in dentistry. And so we have that CRM product. And so assume that same example. Somebody calls and doesn't make the decision to schedule on the phone, hangs up the phone. Now they're in a position, because we have their phone number, to drip them through a funnel and say, hey, come back to the practice. Hey, here's information on Invisalign. Hey, here's information on a weekend special. Hey, here's information on an event we're having. So that even if they weren't in a position to make a choice right then, we still have them in our orbit. And the example I love to give, which happens so often, is, oh my God, my Friday schedule fell apart and I have to pay this team to be here. If you sent out a text message to your CRM base of people who have shown interest but haven't converted and said, 3 new patient appointments open on Friday, do you think someone would respond? I do. And so take that thought, that philosophy, and now start to think about, how do I apply that for implants? How do I apply that for Invisalign? How do I apply that for pediatrics? And so there's so much opportunity there to fine tune a message to the person who's shown interest, expressed interest, but has not converted to the practice yet. That's totally unrealized.
Yeah. Man, you nailed that one. That's a great answer to that question. Tell me more about how you would recommend that people engage more effectively on social media. And do you think that it's is the juice worth the squeeze for social media?
I think social media gets a lot of attention in the Facebook groups, right? There's always 1 or 2 people that say, hey, I spend nothing on marketing. I do everything on social media. And the reality is, I think there are, absolutely. You go into different markets. There's certain people that gravitate towards being natural content creators. You're a good example, right? You certainly have shown us consistency and great content for a long time. But I think for most people, that's very hard. And then we have a lot of people that create good content, but they don't know how to create followers. So it's like you're creating this great content, but maybe not a lot of people are seeing it. So I think you can look at social media in 2 ways. For most people, I think social media functions as a confirmation tool. Someone gets a referral. My friend says this is a great place to go. You see a Google ad, you do research, and you go to someone's social media and say, okay, this looks like a good place. So it's important for that reason. Confirmation is huge. And then there's also the component of, let's get in front of more people. And that's where typically you need to pay a little bit. You need to boost your content or do some ads. And I think that the key there is video, and to be authentic. So yeah, I think social media is an affordable place to build your brand. You should look at it like we looked at newspaper or magazine advertising, right?
Okay.
It's a discovery platform. You're getting in front of people, not necessarily when they have an urgent need, and you want to just continue to be present. We all know that the local lawyer that's got the ad on the bus, right? You don't need a lawyer now, but they sure want you to remember when you do. And that's a little bit more of the approach I think we see for social media. There is direct response social media advertising for specific services, All on X, Invisalign, dental implants, right? Say, hey, you got to give someone a reason to choose, though. It's because we're the best. It's because we're the most affordable. It's because we're available right now. Those are things you need to focus on. But the thing we're the most excited about is that most of our dentists agree social media is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Most of our dentists say if I could be active, it would be helpful.
Okay.
But many of them struggle to create content.
Yes.
And so we have rolled out a new type of content marketing that I think many dentists respond to. And the basic idea is this: can you show up to 3 to 4 meetings a year? Can you have a video interview? You're in your office, we're in ours.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to ask you about 3 topics, and each of those topics is going to be the focus of a month. So in this case, let's talk about bone reabsorption for dental implant placement. What's the deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
We talk about it for 10 minutes. We take that content, we chop it up into 10 social media reels. Now all of a sudden you're the dentist in the area that people are like, wow, they're on it on social media. Did you see them? They're always talking on video. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's got little captions over it.
Yeah.
Then we take that same video and we post it on YouTube, the second largest search engine in the world. And we use the transcript to help AI write a blog from your words. It's literally you writing the blog now. That goes and helps your SEO. Then, hey, we can take that and we can turn it into an ebook. We can take it and turn it into social ads, all because you gave us 1 hour of your time once every 3 to 4 months. That's working smarter, not harder. And that's creating high quality content with low time investment. And so we found that that works really well for our clients that want to be active, but don't know how.
That is awesome. That is awesome. That's basically what my team does. They follow me around and they repurpose content, right? So like they're probably going to grab a clip from this and create a reel out of it, a 60-second reel. And that is just content. But if you are able to capture somebody in long form content and chop that up and redistribute that, appropriately, I can see that being really, really effective. And it's a huge, heavy lift if you try to do it internally. But if you guys already have the infrastructure to do that, I can see that being very valuable for dentists.
Yeah, for me, create systems that scale for you, right? I mean, it's most of us find as we try to recommit to an exercise routine, to a new diet, to a new habit, it goes well for a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
It does. And then you go on vacation, you get sick, life changes, and you're back to where you were. And so I'm a huge believer in create a system that will predict success for a long time, not a short time. And that's what our job is.
What's the optimal cadence for that type of content to be distributed or dripped out?
Well, we want a 12-month plan, right? I mean, at the end of the day, people are looking for dentists every day. And so we want to be around, we want to be available, but that's a heavy burden for a small business owner to take on. Okay, so I'm a social media influencer too. My God, where's the time going to be found for that?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're doing these 3 to 4 interviews so that we have content that can really be effectively pushed out every week of the year. And that's the goal, to make sure that you're visible, you're active, you're
consistent,
relevant every week of the year.
So do you think that once a week is sufficient?
Our best practice when it comes to social media content is to post multiple times a week, typically three or 4.
Okay.
There'll be people that'll tell you need to post 3 or 4 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, if we owned a clothing brand, maybe we would, but I don't know if the average dentist should feel that level of commitment. I think a couple times a week between 2 and 4 is pretty good. Heck, once a week, if you have really good high quality content, that's I'd rather have high quality content going out less than spammy content going out more. And then for SEO, I think having 1 or 2 blog posts a month would be really strong. Most dentists aren't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can do monthly content on your website, that's a great signal to Google, and it creates relevance for people that are searching for those topics.
Awesome. Well, just to summarize, you guys are up to a lot of things. You guys are up to your new ROI kind of technology tool that's going to be able to track in 3 major PMS softwares exactly the ROI on the different campaigns that you're doing. You're basically your ad spend. You guys are working on online scheduling, and then now you also have this social media influencer kind of package that you've rolled out. Busy year for you guys. And has all this stuff rolled out? Is it all ready to go, or are these things that are yet to be released?
It's all in market. The only thing that's not in market right now is the
Online scheduling.
it's the online scheduling, which we have for one of our DSO clients. So we built something very custom for them, and by the end of 2025, we'll have it for all of our clients. And then, by the end of 2024, we'll have it for all of our clients. And then at the beginning of 2025, we're going to be rolling out our internal marketing, our re-engagement of existing leads and existing patients, more importantly, which in the past we had no access to. But now, I'll leave you with this. Mike comes in and talks about Invisalign. He leaves. 2 days later, he gets a text message from Dr. Costas, and it's a video from Dr. Costas. It says, "Hey, our whole team's been talking about your case, and we just know it's going to be a really great one. And, I've got time on the schedule next week. Let's get you scheduled." You decide if you think your practice has that system, if they'll close more cases or if they'll continue to close the same amount.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Michael, you were nice enough to spend a little bit of time with me and my team. We were there for our team retreat a few months ago, and you were talking to us about AI stuff. You helped us kind of with some AI hacks in content creation and in onboarding new kind of team members and that sort of thing. Where do you see AI taking a more active role in what you guys are doing and in dentistry in general in the coming kind of in the not too distant future, because things are rolling out really quickly?
And I just did a whole podcast on this with one of our other favorite dentists, Dr. Alan Mead. There's so much to talk about, and I'll just give you my highlights. I think certainly disruptive in the marketing space, in that it's going to create much more customized marketing material and content for individuals. I think in the dental space, I expect to see a lot of disruption at the front desk level.
Yep.
I think that's a pain point for dentists, and both with data management, online scheduling, responding to people. But the scary thing is, the voice capability of AI is accelerating quickly. There are some products in market today that offer sort of voice AI powered answering. I don't think it's quite there personally, but I think in the next 2 years, you're going to be able to literally subscribe to the strongest case closers in the world, and they will operate at a very high level to talk to people and overcome their objections. I think we're looking at platforms like Pearl AI coming in and disrupting clinically. So AI is certainly coming into dentistry. I saw, this new mirror, I hate to call it a mirror, but Halo has the ability to do voice charting through AI based on, taking intraoral pictures and being able to chart specifically to those teeth based on what you say. So it all comes back to data. If anyone listening is interested in AI, I'll give you this as a way to kind of crack your brain a bit. I don't use ChatGPT as my primary AI tool, but for this one thing, I love it. Go to ChatGPT, and you need to download it on your computer or phone. And then you can prompt it with a scenario, and you could say, "Hey, I've got a difficult conversation with an employee. I want to talk about their tardiness. They're continually showing up late, and I'd like to practice in a role play." And then there's a little button you can click. It looks like headphones, and it turns AI into, you can talk to it. And you could say, "Start the role play," and they will literally become your sassy employee. And you can practice going back and forth. Now that example might be funny. Take that to your front desk and say, "I'd like to practice with you how to overcome people's pricing objections on the phone." Wow. Let's try it in a safe environment. So AI is just sitting there, this gold mine, this gold rush. Gold is literally on the riverbed of California, and I think people are walking by oblivious right now.
Wow. I'm going to try that right now, as a matter of fact. We talk about AI a lot in our group, and this role playing is something that I think would be a really, really great value add if people started utilizing this. Guys, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. Sorry about the technological difficulties that we had. My Wi-Fi is struggling today, but I really appreciate you guys taking the time and hanging out with me. You guys are two of my favorite people, especially living in my favorite city in the world. So thank you guys.
Well, we always love seeing you in San Diego and on the road. And thank you so much for having us.
Of course. You guys have fun at Danny Go tonight.
We will.
Yes, we will.
Pumpkin pie. I'm looking it up. I wrote it down.
It's a banger.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Laura Maly and Michael Anderson.